Good afternoon, boys. Good afternoon. So, as we understood in the previous class, what is this D'Arsonval meter, which is an analog indicator, the two meter indicators, which is a basic one and most widely used type of meter, in which we understood there is a permanent magnet and pivot assembly with the springs at top and bottom, a coil assembly, etc. And a magnetic field will be disturbed or interrupted. Then in turn there is a scale and pointer mechanism which will indicate some reading due to the torque which is developed during the interaction of these magnetic fields. Okay, the pointer is calibrated in terms of electric current. So this we understood in the previous class regarding the D'Arsonval type of meter. Now let us see how does this D'Arsonval meter look like. See, the figure is a colorful figure. You can try to see. It starts from the top. There is a yellow band which indicates the scale, and an arrow is an indicator connected to a pivot assembly. You can see there is a spring, coil spring, top and bottom of the pivoted assembly, which is attached to the pointer. It's easily visible. Then there is a permanent magnet north and south poles showing. Similarly, the positive and negative sides of the meter. The top view can be seen in the next figure towards our right. The pivot assembly, pointer, scale, magnet, okay, it's all connected, right? Coil assembly, which is in shaded part, okay, that also we can observe, right? Now, that is regarding the mechanical, D'Arsonval meter. So what happens whenever an input signal is being given, okay, the magnetic field and the coil assembly both will try to rotate, okay, in opposite directions. So what happens, that in turn the pivot assembly will be actuated and the meter starts showing the reading on the scale. Now once input signal is removed, because of this spring, the pointer comes back to the zero. Okay, that is what we understood. Now the mechanical counters are used to count a particular event. This is the next one, that is counter. See, mechanical counters are of drum type. Normally we use it in speedometer or odometer. Odometer means RPM, revolutions per minute it will show. Okay, then this will consist of large number of drums. Okay, so each drum it is marked from 0 to 9. Okay, and the periphery of that drum. Okay, periphery means an outer surface of the drum. Okay, then the first drum that will try to rotate continuously. Okay, as each rotation of the drum 1 is completed, a transfer segment engages a transfer pinion to rotate drum 2 by 360 degrees. Okay, then a complete rotation of drum 2 rotates drum 3 by 3600 divisions rather. It's not 360 degrees, it is 3600 division it makes. Okay, right. because one full rotation is 360 degrees. So one full rotation of the first drum will make one division, that is like 0 to 9 we said, no, from 0 to 1 it will rotate. So you can see kilometers will be measuring in your bike. The extreme right drum will be rotating continuously, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. Again, when it crosses 0, the second drum shows 1. It indicates that 1 kilometer. Okay, this is 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, like this. Similarly, the second drum, when it rotates full complete 360 degrees, the third drum will rotate by 1 division. That is another one. This will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Or 10, 20, like that it will go. 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 30 it will come. At the end it is 99. Then when it comes to 100, third drum will rotate from 0 to 1. It's like that. Okay. See, there are counters, shaft revolutions and counters, etc. Basically we use these things in the automobile field. Alternatively, the operation may be by some solenoid valves. So these are actuated by a pulse from a switch or a transducer. A solenoid valve, in the sense, it has got a limit. So it moves to a particular end. There is a limit, switch will be there. The switch will get actuated. Because of that, it will go or stop moving in the direction and take other directions, or it will stop. Okay, like that, like door open or close. So when it opens, fully open, it goes and hits one knob, then it is understood that it is reached its maximum, it will stop, like it acts as a switch. Then it starts moving the other side. Okay, it's like that. Next, these variants of the counters are used to add or subtract or minus. Okay, to operate switch after preset number of pulses or rotations have been counted. So feedback system normally, like if you recall the lathe, lathe is there, there this what do you call it, entire carriage, if you rotate, go on rotating to the right side, that is clockwise, the carriage will move from left hand side to right hand side. Now once it reaches at a particular point where the tailstock is there, it will hit. So we will understand and we will stop, like that. Automatically we can do like this. In the sense, preset how many number of rotations are there, say around 20. After 20, automatically it should stop. Okay, like that. Okay, fine. Then the other beautiful element or the instrument is cathode ray oscilloscope. In short, it is abbreviated as CRO. What's her? Cathode ray oscilloscope. Sir, this CRO is most versatile readout device. Most versatile means widely accepted, and it has got a lot of flexibility, or it gives more information or wider information. Okay, it is a display device for mechanical measurements. Display means obviously we should have a screen and pictorial representation. So this is one of the versatile display device. Okay, then it is used to measure and analyze waveforms, and phenomena, different phenomena in electrical and electronic circuits. I hope CRT screen you have seen in electrical laboratories, maybe you have done or not, or in the PUC you would have seen the sine wave formation in a screen. Such type of thing we say. Okay, we try to measure that and analyze that waveforms using this CRO. This is a voltage sensitive instrument. Okay, voltage, see the previous one is a current sensitive, that is DR meter. This one is voltage sensitive meter with an electron beam striking the fluorescent screen. Fluorescent screen means you should recall your computer monitor, dabba type, box type, or the TV box, not like LCDs or LEDs. The previous thing, a box type of TVs, that sort of screen. We call it a fluorescent screen. The extremely low inertia beam of electrons enables it to be used for following rapidly varying voltages. Okay, then the heart of the CRO is cathode ray tube. Okay, cathode ray tube. What is this cathode ray tube consists of? Basically, first thing, we need an electronic gun assembly. Why we require electric gun assembly? Because we need to produce electrons. See, the electron gun assembly produces a sharply focused beam of electrons which in turn are accelerated to high velocity. Means like electrons means there is a negatives, a cathode should be there. Then we put an anode so that the movement of electrons will be speed up, that is accelerated. So speed will be increased. Okay. So this beam of electrons strike the fluorescent screen with sufficient energy, causing some illumination. We call that as luminous spot on the screen. That is a bright spot can be observed. Okay. This next one is electrode gun. That is an assembly we require. First one, second one is gun. An electrode gun emits electrons and makes them into a beam. It consists of heater, cathode, a grid focusing and accelerating anodes. Electrons are emitted from and indirectly heated cathode from an indirectly heated cathode. Means see, we said we require a heater and a cathode. The cathode will be excited by the heater so that electrons will be generated. A grid is being put on so that all the electrons can be accumulated and focused onto a particular area. Now the speed of that impingement should be increased. For that, accelerating anodes are being put. These pass through a small hole in the grid. The grid controls the electrons emitted from the cathode, and hence the intensity of the beam will increase or decrease. That is, variation of intensity will be seen with the help of this cathode grid, which is a very small hole like pinhole. Okay, the electrons are then accelerated by accelerating anodes. Right. See, the third one, what is there in the present is deflecting plates or deflection plates. These are two pairs of electrostatic plates. See, when voltage is applied to a pair of vertical plates, moves the electron beam vertically up and down. Okay, and if the voltage is applied along the horizontal pair of plates, the electron beam moves horizontally from one end to other end of the screen. Okay, see, it is like this. There is a reflector in your light, any scooter light or vehicle light or even torch light. See, there are two filaments will be there in the bulb. The reflector, what happens is, when one filament from bottom it is glowing, the bottom reflector will reflect the light to the top. Okay, the upper reflector to the bottom, because light goes and hits in the top and comes down. This one bottom hits and goes up like this. Okay, so like that the The deflection plates uh, act as a reflector, guides the electrons in a particular direction, that is up and down or left and right, like that. Okay, horizontal and vertical pair of deflection plates which are present in the CRO. The CRT is evacuated so that these emitted electrons can move freely. That is vacuum tube. The tube is made vacuum. Okay, right. Usually the CRO's horizontal voltage is internally developed and vertical voltage is under investigation. That is input will be given. The voltage moves the bright spot up and down in accordance with the instant value of voltage. That is instantaneous means at that particular junction or what is the value of voltage. That is traces the waveform of the input voltage in terms of time. Okay, that is voltage, that is input voltage versus time. This CRO also used to visualize various quantities like current, strain, pressure, acceleration. All these parameters are converted in terms of voltage and they are measured. See, the different parts of the CRO are shown in this diagram. You see, from the extreme left hand to me, you can see a heater. Okay, a heater and a pipe sort of a thing. We call it as tube. Okay, a tube. In that we can see, to start with, a cathode, then a grid to control spot intensity, small dots. Grid is a what you call thick inverted U, like a U shape towards the left. Okay, and heater on small bar we have shown. Then accelerating anodes. Okay, like same square brackets up and down here shown. A pair of two things here shown in the diagram. So till that is from the heater till this is, we call that as electron gun. Okay, then we can see two twisted sort of plates, that is horizontal deflection plate and vertical deflection plates in the last towards the right. Okay, in the center a dotted line going, that we call that as electron beam, and the extreme right side there is called fluorescent screen is been put on. So what we understood is, whenever the heater is given a power supply, it gets heated and electrons starts generating from the cathode, and at a particular point, that is grid, there is a small pinhole we put so that controlled emission of electrons is done. Then a bright the electrons move forward through the anode, which will accelerate the flow of beam of electrons, and controlled in order to focus on the screen with the help of vertical and horizontal deflection plates. So the waveform of voltage is observed on the screen. Okay, like some Y deflection plates and voltage obtained from a tooth oscillator when applied to X deflection plates, like that we can check it out. The waveform, how it goes, we can observe. See, to measure voltage and current, the deflection of electron beam is proportional to the voltage on the deflected plates. So the screen is calibrated in terms of voltage, that is number of volts per centimeter or mm, like that. The value of current can be obtained by measuring the voltage drop across a known resistance connected in the circuit. Okay, so voltage drop across a known resistance will give you the value of current. To measure phase relations and frequency, these lasers patterns are used. Okay, the patterns are characteristic patterns which are obtained on the screen when sinusoidal voltages are simultaneously applied to horizontal and horizontal and vertical deflection plates. Okay, now this is all about your oscillograph. Now we will check out CRO, sorry, it's a cathode ray oscillograph. Now we will check out further. Oscillographs are basically writing instruments unlike CRO. That is, cathode ray oscilloscope is different, but the oscillograph alone is a writing instrument rather than display. Okay, then writing means it's like it views a printed form, let us assume, or some graphical representation, right? Some diagram or some graph or something it will generate. These are again current sensitive. Okay, these devices, oscillographs, are current sensitive. Now oscillographs, they work on D'Arsonval meter movement. Say the first one we understood what is the D'Arsonval movement. Okay, a permanent magnet will be there, inside that a coil assembly, a pivoted rod will be there, and a pointer will be attached as one end, which is controlled by two springs, top and bottom, and a calibrated scale will be there. All these things is a D'Arsonval meter. Okay, right. See, there are two types of oscillographs. One is direct writing stylus type. This employs some form of stylus, means a pointer which is flexible in nature. Okay, not rigid. Flexible means like a springy type. Okay, not exactly spring, but it's thin sheet sort of a thing. Okay, like that. With that will make a direct contact on the paper. The paper is rolled or moved. Okay, that is one. Second is one point. The second point is there are different forms of stylus which are used depending on the type of recording. Okay, so like we use a link by a heated stylus on a treated paper, or by means of stylus pressure sensitive paper. Okay, say there is something like treated in the sense it may react for the heat. It will react and produce a certain line or a figure or something like that. The other one is by pressure sensitive papers. It means like you apply pressure, it will write that. So the figure is there. We will try to see. See, direct writing stylus, current sensitive movement, and a paper driving drive mechanism is shown. See, D'Arsonval setup. You can see north and south is your permanent magnet, coil assembly, pivoted, and a pointer is there, and a paper, and it is trying to put some marking. Okay, the paper will roll, so a drive mechanism should be there for this paper. Okay, the direction of movement is also shown, and as the paper rolls, depending on the input signal, the pointer will try to write on this paper. As the stylus is deflected by input signal, the paper is moved under it at a known rate, thereby recording the time function of the input. See, okay, input with respect to time is recorded. The frictional drag between the paper and the stylus requires considerably more driving torque. These types may have as many as 8 channels here. Okay, torque required is little bit high because there will be friction between the pointer and the paper. Therefore, we need to apply more torque. Okay, like that, right? Then the other one is light beam or mirror type. Okay, see, this is also a wonderful instrument where we can try to use it in measurement. Right. See, this type of instrument employs a light beam. See, optical system has come into picture. Okay, so this light beam is used to write on a film, photographic film or a paper. Okay, we will see the figure here later on. Okay, we'll discuss here. Next, this consists of current sensitive coil like previous thing, paper movement mechanism or drive mechanism, optical system. So basically now there are 2-3 things. What's our coil assembly, drive mechanism, optical system for transmitting this assembly, coil assembly rotation to a displacement on the photosensitive paper. An important parameter in oscillograph is the magnitude of the magnetic flux from the permanent magnet requires relatively a large and heavy magnet. In the sense, see, magnitude of the flux that is required, which is important here. Hence, we require a little bit of powerful magnet. Okay, large and heavy means that will have more flux it will generate. As the magnitude of the input signal varies, current flows in the moving coil and it deflects the mirror. This rotation of mirror in turn deflects the reflected beam of light onto a photosensitive paper, which forms the output. Okay, that is some graph is developed or some picture is been written, something like that. That is what is our output. See, if you try to check out the figure carefully, light beam or mirror type oscillograph you will tell. See, N and S capital letters showing the permanent magnet. See, there is, in the center we have a coil assembly in between this permanent magnet. The input is given to that coil assembly and to the coil assembly there is a mirror attached on the top and anchors at top and bottom. Okay, and there are 2 lenses we have put on. There is a light source, a lens, a light beam strikes through that lens onto the mirror. You need to focus, that's why. Then it is reflected back and that light is also focused using the lens onto the paper, photosensitive paper. The photographic or photosensitive paper is rolled or moved or transferred with the help of a mechanism. Okay, that sort of thing. This is what is construction, right? Then whenever this input is equal to 0, the light ray, the incident ray and the reflected ray, as you see, will be passed in a particular path, and if the paper or the photosensitive film is rolled, let us assume the beam strikes at a particular point and a line will be drawn. So that we will assume as 0. It should be a horizontal or a straight line. But once an input signal is being given, what happens? The coil assembly tries to distract or move. When it moves, the mirror also moves because it is attached to the coil assembly. Now the light from the source or the light beam from the source which is falling on the mirror is automatically deflected. So the reflected path light beam will definitely alter its path. So that can be seen on the photographic film or that photo sensitive paper which is away from the zero line, okay, whether it may be positive side or a negative side. By this way we try to measure and readout devices displays the what you call the reading. Okay, this is what you call it as light beam oscillographs or mirror type of graph. So whenever you explain this, put a diagram, label the parts, description you do, then you try to discuss about what is the working and all those things. So there are some one or two differences of oscillograph and oscilloscope. See, display device and a writing device, voltage sensitive, current sensitive, like that. That is between that what you call the CRO and oscilloscope, right? So the last one is the XY plotters, which we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, this one, and I will start the new chapter temperature measurements in the next class. Okay, thank you. That's it for today. Next class we'll meet again.